Welcome to Minute Mirror Diplomacy. This is Zain. Today we have joining us Daniel Lacalle, a distinguished economist known for his insights into global economy trends and investment strategies. Our focus today is on exploring the challenges and opportunities surrounding macroeconomic stability in Pakistan. Welcome to our show, Daniel Lacalle. It's a pleasure having you.
It's a great pleasure. Thank you very much.
I want to get to the first question. In your opinion, what are the three biggest challenges to achieving a microeconomic stability inside of Pakistan?
Okay, I think that the biggest challenge certainly is to control inflation. And the second, obviously, which is a derivative of the first, is to manage the public finances in a way in which the deficit is under control. The third, obviously, is to attract foreign investment and therefore improve the strength of the industrial fabric and the growth of the economy.
Daniel Lacalle, how can Pakistan effectively control inflation while maintaining economic growth?
I think that the trends of economic growth of Pakistan are very solid, and Pakistan can deliver very high levels of growth without massive inflation. In order to control inflation, there is only two things that can happen. Number one, obviously, is that the government needs to reduce the issuance of deficits, needs to reduce the deficit, and needs to control the public finances. Number two, obviously, is that the central bank needs to reduce the issuance of currency. So basically, ultimately, what Pakistan can get is a good and stable level of economic growth without the destruction of the purchasing power of the local currency. And in order to stop the destruction of that purchasing power, the combination of policies from the central bank and the government to eliminate the excessive printing of currency are the main elements that are required in order to maintain the confidence in the economy and therefore accept the local currency as a driver for investments and as a driver as well for savings and to preserve the reserve of value status for citizens.
According to your research, what role do you think monetary policy such as interest rates play in achieving macroeconomic stability?
Interest rates are very important because interest rates dictate the level of growth in money supply. Therefore, interest rates need to be good enough to incentivize investment, to attract capital, to bring citizens to be able to take some credit, and at the same time, be strong enough in order to avoid the unnecessary growth in money supply well above the demand for the currency. So interest rates are very important. But what is most important, more than interest rates, is the quantity of money, is the money supply growth.
You've made your point, but how can Pakistan ensure fiscal discipline and manage its budget deficit effectively?
I think that the government needs to be aware that in order to preserve the welfare of citizens, incurring in massive deficits is the wrong message because it means that the local currency is going to depreciate massively afterwards, no? And then it becomes a problem of confidence because citizens don't want to save in the local currency. Citizens cannot make decisions of significant investments in the local currency, etc. So what the government needs to understand is that controlling the deficit and reducing spending are elements that actually end up generating a positive outcome afterwards for the local economy, for citizens, for all of the businesses that use the local currency, etc. Therefore, managing the budget is something that has to be done very carefully. It needs to, on the one hand, preserve essential spending, infrastructure, etc., defense, but at the same time, Pakistan needs to focus on reducing all of that expenditure that is unnecessary. And governments obviously have the responsibility with their citizens to manage adequately that spending. One thing that has been proven in Pakistan is that increasing taxes doesn't work, because when they increase taxes, what has happened is that economic activity slows down very quickly. And more importantly, it ends up happening that the small period of additional revenues immediately dies down in a period of contraction of the economy. Therefore, the government needs to understand that taxation doesn't have to be implemented focusing on what they want to collect as taxes, but on pro-economic growth policy. So taxation needs to be pro-growth. And at the same time, spending has to be pro-growth as well. So it has to be focused on investments in education, in healthcare, in infrastructure, in defense, and then reduce and eliminate all of that level of spending that has absolutely nothing to do with that, and that contributes to a structural deficit that is destroying the local currency.
Daniel Lacalle, I want to get to a very important question. What are some examples of how other developing countries have successfully achieved macroeconomic stability?
There are many different examples, and none of them are, let's say, ideal to copy to another country. But we have very significant lessons, no? The first one is that when the local currency stops being a reserve of value, a generalized mean of payment, and a unit of measure, and when international investors don't accept the local currency for investments and for bonds, then it's much better to adopt the currency of the United States, the US dollar, for example. No, but not necessarily just the US dollar. It's sometimes the local currency ends up being a burden for growth and for development. Other examples that we have found is that many of these countries that have taken measures that have been directly linked to attracting foreign investment with legal and investor security, with a stable legal environment and a stable taxation environment, and at the same time, with that attraction of investment, more reserves for the central bank, that has helped the government to reduce the deficit without incurring in a significant economic decline. So those two things are important: is reducing the deficit, reducing massively the level of unnecessary spending, while at the same time attracting foreign investment with a stable and predictable legal and investor security framework, and a taxation and legal system.
A good suggestion, but if we look at statistics, Pakistan has a huge youth population. In your view, how can Pakistan leverage its large and young population to benefit from macroeconomic stability and foster a long-term economic growth?
The demographic factor in Pakistan is essential. It's a great asset for the economy, and it shows the tremendous potential that the Pakistan economy has. If we look at all of the things that drive economic growth in Pakistan, all of those, without taking aggressive assumptions, can be doubled, from foreign investment to the different subsectors that are driving economic growth, to obviously tourism, hospitality, everything that has to do with leisure, with obviously agriculture, energy, technology. There's everything can almost, we can take a safe assumption that it can be doubled. And the very young population is a very good asset because it's a population that wants to develop. It's a population that is very hardworking, and education is critical. Education is critical in order to bring the tremendous potential of the population of Pakistan to its best and to its optimum level. So education, training, all of those things that help the young population drive further their ambitions and their opportunities, achieve higher level of growth, and bring more investment into the country. So the young population is a great asset for Pakistan.
Looking at the current state of Pakistan's economy, what advice would you give the government and the policymakers regarding achieving and sustaining long-term macroeconomic stability in Pakistan?
The first recommendation would be to focus the budget on healthcare, education, infrastructure, and defense. Those four items should be the priority, and reduce everything that is unnecessary. The second would be to understand the principles of supply and demand of money, and to understand that massive deficit financed by the central bank ends up generating huge levels of depreciation of the local currency. And the third one would be to present to the world a macroeconomic stability program that centers on legal and investor security.
Let's get to the last question. Looking towards the future, what emerging trends or global factors do you see impacting Pakistan's pursuit for macroeconomic stability?
Well, the polarization of different countries and the level of geopolitical risks are significant, and therefore those do affect Pakistan. Pakistan has very high levels of opportunity, tremendous levels of growth coming from different areas, industrial, technology, hospitality and leisure, agriculture, etc. But we need to understand that at the same time, there are significant geopolitical concerns. Those geopolitical concerns are things that the governments need to take into account when they conduct policy. And more importantly, those geopolitical concerns are also very significant when it comes to the demand and the confidence in the local currency. As such, the government needs to center in what it can control, which is a budget focused on infrastructure, healthcare, and obviously education, plus a level of monetary and fiscal policy that gives confidence to the world in order to accept the local currency.
Thank you so much, Daniel Lacalle, for sharing your profound insights into the challenges and prospects of macroeconomic stability in Pakistan.
It's a great pleasure. Thank you very much.
The complexities of economic dynamics in Pakistan demand a thoughtful consideration and strategic foresight. Today, we have indulged into the possibilities of macroeconomic stability and its mechanism for Pakistan. Until the next episode, keep on watching Minute Mirror Diplomacy. This is Zain Khan. Take care. Goodbye.